Hey guys, Chris with Tillman Family Farms. So everybody keeps asking, and I get emails and messages on Facebook and text messages and all kinds of stuff all the time. Is Georgia a good state for small farmers like us? Buckle up and get ready for a rant. All right, so I've been asked this question time and time again. We made some videos a while back about how to get started and what are all the things that you could be legal with to do chickens in Georgia and things like that. And when we did those videos, we were legal. We were 100% legal. And at the end of 2022, we got a visit from the Georgia Department of Agriculture. And they'll probably watch this video because they watch every single freaking thing that we do. And I'm sick of them. But we got a visit from them out of the blue. And they wanted to see our chicken processing area, which I'll be honest with you, if you go back and you look at videos of Joel Salatin and his little line of everybody that's out there hacking up chickens and everything else, man, we were top notch. We were up there, man. We were inside of a tent and all sorts of stuff. We really thought that we had done a good job. It had been down, it had been inspected twice, passed, no problems. And then they just decided all of a sudden that they wanted to change some stuff and we were no longer legal. So let me back up and start telling you what was going on at that time in the state of Georgia that made those changes kind of come to fruition. So Gary Black was the Georgia Agricultural Commission. And all this is speculatory. You think what you want to. It's just political stuff, and you can kind of see the writing on the wall, okay? So Gary Black, been Georgia Agricultural Commissioner for however long, decided that he wanted to run for a different office. And right there at the end of his last term, all of a sudden, Georgia became the poultry capital of the world. And yes, by all accounts, we got pigs back there doing crazy stuff. By all accounts, when I say poultry capital of the world, I mean poultry capital of the world. All your major chicken conglomerates, all their headquarters are based in Georgia. So I'm willing to bet that Mr. Black needed a little campaign money, and he did so by kind of giving the big chicken companies what they wanted. So they created a panel of experts to rewrite the small poultry exemption laws in Georgia. Yeah, see, pigs back here going crazy. Anyhow, so they got all of these guys from big chicken companies to write the laws for us 1,000 bird exemption people. None of that makes sense. None of it. So you got all of these guys. So basically, I'll cut half this crap short. I just get madder and madder more I talk about this stuff. So basically what happened was, when they came and shut us down that day, they handed us this guideline. And as I read this guideline, they are, oh boy. So they're asking for a building with all these different rooms in it. You have to have a men's and women's bathroom, even though the people that worked in our chicken processing plant were me, my wife, my son and my daughter every now and again, and my mom and dad, and then maybe if we had some friends that wanted to come and learn how to process their own birds. That was it. But they wanted us to have an employee bathroom, men's and women's. Keeps going. They want us to have a septic system. They wanted us to have no more composting material. You could, but the composting program has to be this great big certified thing and all kinds of stuff. You can't just have a great big pile of wood chips out here, go and dig a massive hole in it and put your chicken remains in the middle of it anymore and cover it up and let it compost over 6 months. 6 months. Do they know how compost works? Anyhow, so all of these things. So basically, what I would have had to do is I would have had to go to the county that I live in. I would have had to have a piece of my property rezoned. I would have had to have had drawings done and stamped and approved by the county. I would have had to have had a sign out in front of this portion of my property that was set for rezoning. They would have had to rezone that piece of property as commercial because it wouldn't be anything else. And when everybody up down through here sees a rezoning sign, nowadays, because there's just neighborhoods popping up everywhere out here, it's crazy. So when they see a rezoning sign, buddy, they go straight to the county and they start raising cane and all kinds of crap. Then I'm gonna have a big target on my back because they think I want to build houses over here. They won't read the sign. Doesn't matter. So, and on top of that, you have to pay to have a surveyor come out here and split that property. And then on top of that, it's got to be approved and all this other stuff. And then even at the cheapest, $50,000, $60,000 for a building, to obtain a 1,000 bird exemption in the state of Georgia. Now, you do the math on how many years of selling only 1,000 birds would it take to pay back? I mean, what's your ROI there? What's your return on investment? I mean, you know, you'll never get there. You'll never get there between what it costs to do it every day and all this and that. So here's the thing. They didn't say, no, you can't do it. They didn't slap you on the hand and all that kind of crap. They said, you can still do it. You grow all the chickens you want to. You pull them in those little pens across the grass and you make them do whatever the hell you want them to do. But you have to take them to a USDA processor. Can't process them on your place anymore if you're not going to build this fancy building that we want you to build. So the only one in the state of Georgia, actually there's two now. I do know that there's two. There's Lawrenceville, Georgia, and then somewhere else around Atlanta, I think. But it's the same company. They split and they're in two different locations. For me, that's a 2-hour ride. And the way that this processing plant works is that you bring them the birds and you have to stay there and wait for them to be ready because you got to take them back that same day. This particular chicken processing plant uses a lot of the same equipment that we use. On top of that, the last time I checked, and it's been quite some time, it was $5 to process one bird. So can you imagine the increase in pricing? So, you know, our price point was around $5 a pound. We were still making just like small amounts of money that way with the high dollar feed that we were using. And by God, if I'd have ever figured the freaking labor into any of it, it would have never amounted to anything, right? We would have never made a penny. Of course, we still haven't never made a penny, but adding $5. So just say that our bird was $15. $15, 3-pound bird. And you add the $5 to it for processing. Then you add the labor, the fuel, and all that other stuff that goes into it to take them up there, go get them, the whole day wasted sitting, waiting on that. And I mean, what's that bird worth? Is it $25? Is it $35? I mean, for the cost that you're having to pay to process one whole bird, you can almost, and this is in today's economy with this inflation and all this Bidenomics crap, people can go to the grocery store and they can still almost buy a whole frozen bird for a little over $5. Why the hell are they going to buy mine? I mean, you know, even with the difference in quality and all that kind of stuff, and we had a lot of people that would come buy 10, 11, 12 birds from us at a time because of the fact that they had cancer, autoimmune disorders, or anything like that, and they knew that what we were selling didn't have all the crappy chemicals in them that all those big chicken companies put in their crap. From the feed to that, whatever that crap is they're injecting in them at the end of the line, make them weigh more, all kinds of crap like that. So, I mean, it's just, it was one thing after another. So between that and rendering lard, they just started coming out of the woodworks. Okay, so once they came here and we gave them a hard time, the freaking lady with the Georgia Department of Agriculture stood in my driveway, and when my wife pulled out a bird that was in our freezers and showed it to her, she was like, "Oh, that looks real good. You know, I've never even had a farm fresh chicken before." You mean to tell me that this is your job to inspect me and tell me what I'm doing wrong when I'm putting my name on that package, that I'm not doing the right thing, and you've never even had one? Yeah, I mean, anyhow, there's a lot of things that have brought us to where we're at now. Chicken was one of the things that people asked for the most. And back when we had it, boy, we sold it like gangbusters. We couldn't grow it fast enough. And we couldn't grow enough at one time. You know, even with all the pens and infrastructure that we had, we could do about 150 birds at one time. We could brood about 150 birds at one time. So it was just difficult for my wife to keep up with on her own by herself, while I still worked a 40, 50 hour a week job. So, you know, even turkeys. Oh my gosh, people Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving that we didn't have turkeys, man, I thought they were going to come out here and burn the house down. They were so mad that we didn't have turkeys. Best turkey they ever had. Where are we going to get turkey like this? All these things, and you know, they just seemed to stalk us after that. I mean, like, we were getting letters in the mail from the Georgia Department of Agriculture like we were some kind of criminal. Like, if you don't stop doing this, and the last one that kind of tipped everything off was the rendered lard. So we process pork. We process a lot of pork, and we were taking the USDA inspected leaf lard, and we were rendering it down into a pure lard in a jar and slapping a label on it that said exactly what it was. And one picture on the old face crack, and buddy, here they came running again. Yeah, I mean, we're just some daggum farming bandits, me and Meemaw down the road and everybody else. If you want to make some crackling or something like that, buddy, you better get ready for the daggum cuffs and the fines to come flying out in Georgia. So, needless to say, you got big chicken companies that rewrote the laws, and they rewrote the laws to where you basically have to have a small chicken Tyson or a Tyson chicken plant to even do this here. If you can't process the birds yourself on your own property, you're not going to make money. If there are people in the state of Georgia that are doing that, they're either charging a crazy, crazy, crazy amount. And I truly believe that. I found somebody's website. They've spent all the money to go out and get organic and all that stuff, the organic stamp, which is expensive to get. It's not just a way. I mean, they go back 10, 11 years on your property, testing soil and all kinds of stuff to make sure when the last time chemicals were used. I get it. These people went through that. They sell on their website what they call an airplane cut. It is a bone-in breast with the flapper wing still attached to it. $34 with a flapper on it. Come on, man. I don't know who is buying that, and I get it. It's great for you. It's great for your health and all that stuff. But I guarantee you that my birds right here that I was growing right here are just as healthy as what those were. So I can't sleep at night if I'm trying to charge you $34 for a bone-in breast with a flapper on it. I just can't do it. I can't do it. So we stopped selling chicken. Beef has always been a struggle for us here. We can't produce enough beef on this small piece of property to keep it in stock and keep it sold. We thought about buying in already grown out. The margin of profit slims to next to nothing almost after processing and all these other stuff. So it's really hard to do it that way. Pork was always great. We've processed up to about 40 pigs a year. That's done really good for us business-wise, but there's just so many things. I mean, like, the biggest market that we go to is a market. It's a nonprofit market that's put on by a church. There's so much red tape that's just cut and just disappears because it's a nonprofit at a church, and it's really, really easy to think about it that way. But as soon as we break out and go to another market somewhere else, all these other things come in. And I'm going to tell you, we sat down on the front end of this thing, and when I told my wife years ago we had another business, and we ended up in some tax problems because the tax guy we used, he was, oh, you should do this, and you get this money back. Yeah, well, we had to pay all that money back. So we wanted to sit down and figure out everything and do everything as legit as possible. We were getting licenses for some crap that we've never even done. We thought we had to have it. So mobile meat licenses, cottage kitchen licenses for all the jams and jellies, which we thought the rendered lard was covered under that, and it was not. And then, of course, egg canneling license to sell eggs. License. We had like probably, she'll probably smack me in the face, probably 8 licenses, I think, all in total. And, some of them got taken away because they changed stuff. And I got in front of Tyler Harper, which is the new Georgia Agricultural Commissioner. I got face to face with him and asked him about this, man, and he knew it was coming. I mean, he just, oh man, all this stuff was done before I got in office and all this and that. And we traded emails and all this stuff, and finally stopped responding. And I got this fancy letter in the mail that was how to go out and get a loan to build that cool building over there, and be in debt. I don't want to be in debt. I want to be a farmer, and I want to make just a little bit of money and enjoy what I do for a living, and help other people out, feed people. So we, with the times and inflation and everything else, we're not going to get out of farming completely, but we are slowing farming down a massive amount. When we have beef, we're going to process beef and sell it. When we have pork, we're going to process pork and sell it. We'll probably always have eggs. We've had eggs for 20 years in our marriage. So when people ask me, I get these emails and text messages and Facebook messages and all, anywhere that anybody can track me down, YouTube videos, all this other stuff. Every time I get one of these videos or these messages, it's hey man, tell me what I need to have to get started. I don't know. I'm not telling you that it's impossible. I'm telling you that it is a pain in the donkey. I'm just telling you, it is. My best advice to any of you guys out there that want to farm in Georgia, like a Joel Salatin or a Chuck Lewis, any of those guys out there that are big that you're watching on YouTube and you really, really like it, if you're not in those states and can do it exactly the way that they do, you need to get in touch with your county extension officer. Those people should be able to tell you anything and everything that you need to know about farming in your state. That's the best advice that I can give you. If I had any other advice to give you, it would be to not farm this way in Georgia unless you're homesteading for yourself, because you are setting yourself up for heartburn, and I just don't think there's any easy way to do it. I fought it, and man, I even wanted to figure out some contract growing scheme where the customer owned the bird and we trade it out. I'm going to teach you how to process your birds and all this other crap. But there's so many. I mean, you just can't do that. There's so much dead loss and all this other stuff that could take place that no matter what, you're responsible for as the farmer. So it just makes it really, really difficult to farm in Georgia. There's very, very few bulk grain providers in our area. There's some down around Montezuma. I think there's one in Moultrie. They're there, but very seldomly are you going to find them that are going to make the feed exactly how you want it to be. If you're a no corn and no soy type of place, those feed mills are hard to find that will actually put the effort into making feed that way. So, and Georgia's just not one of them. Georgia's a row cropping state for the most part, and it's really, really hard to make a living. Is there a demand for it here? You bet your bottom there is, buddy. I'm gonna tell you. And if I could figure it out, and I just might not be the guy. I might not be the guy to figure out how to be a damn small farmer in Georgia. I don't know. I haven't been able to figure it out yet, and it's been 4 years. We thought we had it figured out, and they changed the laws. We were doing great, we really were. But man, here we are on the backside of it, and everything's just kind of falling to the wayside. You know, prices are still going up because feed costs as high as crap. People are slowing down buying the pork that we produce because it's like double, triple whatever the cost in the grocery store is, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to buy, you know, shoes for their kids for baseball season or whatever. Everybody loves us and they want to support local, but they can't afford to do that in today's economy. So will that change next year? Will things become more affordable, and will we be able to do stuff different? Maybe. It really might. If we can get some people changed around in the White House that will actually do some things that will help the everyday people like us, then maybe. But for now, we've got to back off of it because we're spending more money than we're bringing in, and it's just not. It's not mathing. The math ain't mathing, guys. So I guess this got me fired up because I've had a few of these messages here lately. Not mad at you guys that are messaging me. Not mad at you guys at all. I just get irritated with the situation that we're in here in Georgia. So yeah, that's it. I'm not going to get any nicer about this one or nothing like that. So you can go back and look at all those videos. They're a couple years back on our channel. And we really thought we had our crap together, and we do not. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys watching. If you don't mind, go down and like and subscribe. Help us out any way that you can, because we ain't making no money farming. We'll see you on the next video.